We've fought very hard not to look like any other festival. We care about your vision, we care about what you put into that work. This Sydney Opera House is a place for you should you want to come and perform here. My name's Ben Marshall. I'm the head of contemporary music at the Sydney Opera House and the curator of Vivid Live. I'm here to talk to Happy Mag about this year's Vivid Live for 2024. Careful musical and artistic curation is at the absolute heart of the festival. In fact, it's the point of the festival. Humanity is all the way through this program, as it's the theme of Vivid Sydney. There's an amazing kind of through line of individual and community stories that coheres around this year's program. And the joy for me is in bringing that stories of humanity into the building like the Opera House and being able to amplify voices and have communities come together in an artistic way. I find it very hard to pick a standout for this year or any year. I get asked a lot. A very personal one is Fever Ray this year. I sent an email to try and tour the knife back when I was a commercial promoter or an independent promoter. So I've been sending emails to Karen's management and promoters for 17 years, and there's a point at which you just are in the habit of sending the email not thinking anything's going to come back. And this year was the year. I think Karen is an extraordinary artist. Fever Ray as a project combines sort of art, music and pop and personal identity with a sort of a joyous self-exploration in a really communal way. I'm personally incredibly moved that Fever Ray has chosen us to be their Australian debut, and it's going to be an amazing way to experience them in Australia for the first time. There's a wonderful thing with the Scandinavian artists actually, because the architect is Danish, Jorn Utzon. The Opera House is known all throughout Scandinavia. Mitch Tolman, who's the lead singer of Sydney punk band Lowlife, was kind of hanging out in Scandinavia and sleeping on people's floors, and we had Lowlife in Vivid Live 2022. And all the DIY scene in Scandinavia like, Mitch, what you been up to? It's like, well, we played the Opera House. They're going, you played the Opera House? Like the Copenhagen Opera House doesn't ask us to play, get us a gig. So Mitch sends me this email and it's kind of, towards the end of 2022 going, hey, I've got all these great DIY bands out of kind of Denmark that want to come and play. I think we're getting together with a load of Sydney bands. Are you up for it? And I love that what is known as sort of a high-end traditional art form building like the Opera House is able to pull in DIY underground roots from Scandinavia and Sydney and have that inhabit it and honour that work just as much as we honour classical music, ballet and the traditional art forms we're most known for. The Australian work in this year's program is held very close to our hearts. In the pandemic years, we could only program local artists, and it really reinvigorated our connections with the local music scene. And we made a conscious effort as the borders came down and to bring in international work to not lose that connection, which was always been present in Vivid Live, but was really strengthened over the 21 and 22 programs. And I'm very, very grateful to our head of First Nations programming, Michael Hutchings, and the producer, Jess Beck, who've co-curated all the amazing Indigenous artists in this year's program. It's Thelma Plum, Barkaa, Tasman Keith doing an incredible show with Fluent and Inkaby. It's a very special program this year from the Australian side. This is a big moment for Sydney. The cultural currents that run through Sydney run through the Sydney Opera House as well. So it's a joy to be able to take this internationally renowned platform, but go to the people who are in this city and in Australia doing the work that joins up with the best of the international kind of creative conversation. It's one of the joys of programming Vivid Live that you can work with these artists you wanted to work with for so long and can pull them into the orbit of Vivid and the Opera House. Thank you very much, Happy Mag, for inviting me in and such a thoughtful conversation about art and music. Please come along to Vivid Live and experience some of the amazing array of international and local artistic ambition. Do jump online to have a look at the lineup at sydneyoperahouse.com/vivid-live. It runs from the 24th of May to the 6th of June.